All right, folks. Hello, this is the Tradesight U.S. Stocks, Futures, and Forex Market Preview and International Economic Data Roadmap for the week beginning Sunday the 5th of September 2021, ending Friday the 10th. This is usually, slowly, at some point, the start of the better part of the trading year. From here until May or June is usually pretty exciting. July and August, not so much, and I think we've seen that in obviously the first couple days of September. But it's usually after Labor Day, which is Monday, that things start to pick up. Doesn't mean Tuesday is suddenly going to magically be special, but you do start to see things happen related to the federal budget, which comes due in October, and just a lot of other things. So we're going to be focused on all that, obviously, and starting to watch for some action and just see what happens. We've got a few things to discuss here. First of all, Monday's a holiday here in the U.S. We'll have no Forex calls Sunday night going into Monday. We will have no stock picks, obviously, for Monday because it's not open. So the plus report for the week will be for Tuesday. The Forex calls will be Monday night for Tuesday, assuming there are even any decently spaced levels to work with. Here's a look at the dollar index. We'll start with Forex daily chart. Slipped a bit this week. Not too much, still been a range it's been in for quite a while, but there was at least some movement on Thursday and Friday, and we pulled out a couple of winners. Later in the week, let's go through the daily charts. So like the euro dollar, the inverse of the dollar index, as you can see, a little bounce there. Here's the pound dollar. This one was not as big of a move. Aussie dollar, not much here. Oh, there was a little bit here. I didn't trade it, but there it is. Bigger move in the Aussie than the other stuff. Euro yen climbed as well. It's been a little bit of a move here for 2 weeks. But we're still, again, these ranges are still horrible in Forex. Forex suffers the most in August. It was the first, based on our calls, our nightly calls, first negative month of the year, and that happens sometimes in August. That's why we go to half size. So we don't really adjust for that in the results. But basically, you shouldn't have lost anywhere near full size 60 pips, and 60 pips is pretty small compared to our bigger winning months. So it is what it is. But what we will do is when we start to see some better ranges in Forex every year around this, in September or whenever it starts to occur, then we'll go back to full size and we'll let everybody know. But right now, there's not much to see, of course. All right, in terms of, let's look at the week intraday 30-minute candles on the euro dollar. High to low for the week is about 120 pips. Most of it not exciting on the euro. And if you just look at the pound, and that'll be it. This is more like 140 pips. And is what it is. So not very interesting. And again, Thursday and Friday were, where the real, quote unquote, real move was, if that's what you're going to call that. All right, let's get to the major stuff on the stock market side. Here's the ES front month futures contract. Look at these daily candles. Horrible, right? This is the daily chart of the ES broad market. Proper way to look at the market. And when you see the intraday, you're going to realize this. And we continue to have this problem where we're just not seeing big ranges. That does happen, though, in August and July. I will say we've had some problems even back in June and stuff like that. But we need to get back to some better activity, up or down. Obviously, we'd prefer a downward move in the market to get things started, and then we can worry about the upside later in the year. But we'll see what we get. At the moment, though, last 5 days are pretty flat. We'll look at that intraday. It'll be a better way to look at it. Crude oil down 89 cents on Friday, 69.10. Gold up 18.40. So gold was, up 18.4. S&P cash loses $1, literally a point and a half. Can you get any more boring than that? Nasdaq 100 up 48. That's kind of a blip for the Nasdaq anymore since it's a 15,000 point index. SOX was up 19. Not much there, not much action all week there. The biotechs were down 10. Russell 2000 down 11.296. This continues to be, this is really amazing if you look at this. Think about this. We're sitting exactly where we were basically at the start of February. If you take the range from the high to low, like from, basically 2080 up to whatever the high is there one time, 2300, that goes back to the middle of January. That is probably the flattest I've seen the Russell run for 9 months ever. And I've been doing this a long time. The VIX closes at 16.41. That's actually unchanged, so we're back in the teens. Keep in mind, we'll probably have an options play on the VIX coming up here soon. Trend closes at 1.20, puts the 10-day at 0.97. So it's not any kind of sell signal. But if I count backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're not. We just dropped a big number off the other day. So we don't have any big numbers to drop off. It's not going to push that moving average down to 0.85 yet, which would be the sell signal on the market. Nasdaq volume fell off a cliff. Everybody's gone, obviously, for the 3-day weekend. Got out of 10 in advance. We knew that would happen. 3.6 billion shares, one of the lightest of the year so far. Advanced decline ratio on the Nasdaq, negative 716. Advanced decline ratio on the New York, negative 535. Google gains 9.05. Not at highs, but close to it. Apple up 65 cents. Remember, there's a big 13 sell signal here. There's a couple of risk lines you can use. We're tucked up against the shorter one. The bigger one's a little higher. Netflix up $1.98. Nice cup breakout on Netflix overall. Amazon up 14.93. Tesla gains $1.18. And there's a 13 sell signal in place. We're still under the risk line there. Facebook positive 98 cents. Zoom gains $3.20, but this is after the big 50-point gap down day on earnings earlier in the week. Goldman Sachs down $3.19, fighting against the market as one of the leading bank stocks out there. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, down $1.36, so bonds up a bit, rates up a bit. Dow down 74. We don't really watch the Dow, but look how flat that thing's been. Bitcoin's just over 50,000, made it back above 50,000 again. Interesting there. All right, let's look at the intra-week action. So we'll go to 10-minute candles here on the ES so you can see the whole week. And this was a largely untradable week, and we knew going in it was going to be pretty bad, right? So here's the small gap up on Monday, pushed higher, sideways, and then sold off a little bit late. Tuesday morning tried to sell off even more, never filled the gap from the prior Friday's close, bounced around, closed inside the opening 5-minute candle at the close on Tuesday, gapped up a little bit on Wednesday, closed flat for the day, tiny move down from the open, but flat sideways from the prior day. Gapped up again on Thursday, held that for a bit, but then came back and basically filled the gap to the tick and closed up a couple of points, and then there was some aftermarket stuff. And then Friday gapped down a little bit, made our way back. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 20-some point range on the S&P for the whole week. It's horrible. And the only thing is we never filled the gap from last Friday's close. Nasdaq 100, not too different, very similar. Look how flat some of that Wednesday, Tuesday, and Friday action is. And so it's just, we got to wrap up the summer, and we just did, and that's good for us. Let's talk about economic data that's coming out this week. Australia's MI inflation gauge, ANZ commodity prices. Monday, Europe, we got the German factory orders. These are all Eastern Standard Time, 2 a.m. Eastern. Centex investor confidence out of Europe at 4:30. Construction PMI at the same time out of the UK. Canada and the US both on bank holiday. AIG Services Index out of Australia. BRC Retail Sales Monitor that night out of the UK. Japan's got their average cash earnings and household spending. Trade balance out of China. Japan's 30-year bond auction. Australia's rate announcement at 12:30 midnight plus 30 on Tuesday, going into Tuesday. Leading indicators out of Japan, Swiss unemployment rate, German industrial production, foreign currency reserves out of Switzerland, Halifax HPI out of the UK, zoo economic sentiment out of Europe, along with the German zoo economic sentiment, final employment change number, revised GDP, GDT price index out of New Zealand, bank lending current account, final GDP out of Japan, economy watchers sentiment out of Japan, French final private payrolls and trade balance going into Wednesday, Italian retail sales, German 10-year bond auction. Bank of Canada has their rate announcement at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. JOLTS job openings here in the U.S. at the same time, along with then our TIP IBD economic optimism number. Monetary policy report hearings out of the UK. Bank of Canada's press conference from the rate announcement. 10-year bond auction here in the U.S. Beige book at 2. Consumer credit at 3. New Zealand's manufacturing sales number at 6:45. RICS house price balance out of the UK that night. M2 money supply that night. CPI and PPI out of China. Then Thursday, we've got the German trade balance, preliminary machine tool orders out of Japan, M2 money supply, new loans, monetary policy statements. This is the broad European, the Bank of the ECB rate announcement, 7:45 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday, and then their press conference, our weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers at 8:30, Natty gas at 10:30, crude oil at 11 because it's the holiday on Monday. They moved the crude oil and the natty gas both to Thursday. 30-year bond auction here in the U.S. at 1. Visitor arrivals out of New Zealand. And finally on Friday, German final CPI, UK construction output, GDP out of the UK along with everything that goes with it and their goods trade balance. French industrial production, Italian industrial production, Eurogroup meetings begin, unemployment rate and change out of Canada at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Friday. We also get our PPI number here in the U.S., not a big deal, and final wholesale inventories at 10 a.m. So, there is some data, but none of it's any of the big stuff, really. And the Bank of Canada and the ECB rate announcements, probably not going to hold any surprises, and it's not a U.S. Fed meeting. So, it's not data that we're really worried about here. We've got a short week because of the Monday holiday. Let people get back to work on Tuesday. Let things start to line up technically. And then let's just hope we see what we usually see every year, where things start to pick up slowly in the weeks ahead. And we look forward to it. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken the trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading week and a good long Labor Day weekend.